This is the weirdest setup yet, but hopefully it works for about the albums. Today, we're talking about Generation. This is an album I made of songs. Basically, all the stuff I made, not really to be on an album, but they all came from the game MTV Music Generator for the PlayStation. So I made these, years ago, and they were all like on these memory cards, and I couldn't save everything, but I kind of saved what I could, essentially, from these, and almost all of these, just like, these are like most of what I had left sitting on those memory cards, and then that would also fit on an album. And an interesting tidbit is that originally in this album, before I did the remastering and stuff to it, I had a version where essentially I had these other couple of albums. I did the Sam Lilly Experience, and the Sam Lilly Experiment and the Sam Lilly Project. Some of those are keyboard things, and one of them was MTV Music Generator things. And then I had the Sam Lilly Experience that put them both together. The first two songs on this are from that little thing I did, that little project of mine. And then the only song that actually I had to remove here to fit those was the song Run in Time, which really wasn't that good on here. And I've done a song since then with words and stuff, so it's basically what I'm getting at then is that I didn't really change a whole lot. I just added a couple songs. I got rid of that one. And a lot of the stuff, I used with playing keyboard and whatnot. Some of it, I made it in there, and then I tried to recreate those things on my actual keyboard. And then there were also times when I was playing things on my actual keyboard and tried to translate them into there, because the little, display on the side of the screen was like a keyboard. So it was really easy to go back and forth between the two to find where the notes and stuff were to do things. And these aren't like me stealing songs and stuff that were preloaded onto there. It's using samples, and you just use the samples of the digital instruments and stuff and put them together, and you can create your own songs. And that's what I did. So that's what we've got here. So hopefully it'll be interesting. I hope. Man is Broken was recorded later. I recorded it the same way as the other songs, but for all of them, I guess I recorded them by I didn't have anything to really hook up the system or anything to some other device to get the clean audio. So basically, every time I was doing these, I was playing it off of a TV and recording that with my camera. So I did what I could. But this song actually reminds me a lot of Jet Force Gemini on Nintendo 64. It kind of reminds me of a song you might hear in that, just because of the sound quality and the instruments picked, the kind of N64 MIDI thing. I don't know. I thought it sounded kind of like that, and that's mostly why I really wanted to keep it too, is because I thought it sounded really awesome, and it was a great way to kick off the album this time around, is with that. So that's Man is Broken. I think Most Fucked Up was also either used or considered to be used for a Halloween video, but this is the other one I tacked on here. I figured if I'm going to tack them on, it'd be easier to just put them on the beginning, so then it would be all the numbers of the other ones just move down two, except for once you get to the Run in Time one, and I took that out, and then they only move down one. But you get the idea. It's just meant to be weird and kind of scary, and it's another one that's kind of pretty basic of here are the riffs and things, and then like let's add these things, put them on top of each other, and let's separate them, and let's do other weird things in between a little bit. I was playing around with like the ability to bend notes in there you could hear as well, and to fade them in and out. It's just, I don't know. It sounded kind of neat. Some of the effects I was just playing around with in the game, and it is meant to sound really fucked up. That's why it's called Most Fucked Up. You also notice that my microphone is now more straight up, like it's supposed to be, because it's supposed to be that way. So I figured it might be good to start putting it that way, and maybe it'll make it easier to hear me. Because when it is tilted, it's more picking up stuff as by the ground. Battle Pond was the original opener of the album, and for good reason. It's really cool. It has that punch to it. Um, the the song actually is kind of like the way some of the notes go. It's actually kind of inspired by stuff from like Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, a little bit. Um, uh, Maybe it's hard to tell in that, but that is kind of a bit of an inspiration for some of that. And also, then later on, like these tapes, I did that Return to Battle Pond because I had the Battle Pond song that I tried to recreate that, and then Return to Battle Pond, and then the last time at Battle Pond, and I think at another time I made it like whatever a guitar mix I called it, and I had guitars on this keyboard, and I was playing the song that way, and that one I didn't keep that one because none of them sounded quite as cool as what I was able to do in this version of it. So I've always really really liked this one, and I'm glad I get to keep it even though I don't have the game or the memory cards or whatever anymore. It's nice. Feels nice, man. Dragon's Scale is just great. It's just really, really cool. It's obviously inspired by, medieval fighting dragons kind of sword and sorcery stuff. And just, I don't know. I like that. I think that's neat. Um, and I had this weird, I think it's like a lot of like electric piano tones or something. But like I had a way where like I layered them so they kind of made it sound almost a little like echoey ish, but they weren't really like an echo. So like it kind of like one started getting quieter and the other would get louder again. But since it's the same like actual like sample, like the way it kind of like pulses, the weird effect with it. I don't know. I just thought that sounded really neat to go around with like using those. And I like that the song really goes places. There's a part where like the bass gets like super like prominent and like with strings and stuff under it, and it's like loud, and like that part's really cool. Just like I feel like the song really goes into a lot of different places and like has a really interesting sound to it. That's something really isn't really I've never really done before that or since that. I thought that was really really interesting to hear. Just I don't know. It's cool, and I just haven't really heard much like it before. But I still think it fits the mood of what I'm going for. I think it also reminded me a bit of like a PS2 demo. I think it was like Dragon Guard, where it was like you were like out fighting dragons was the thing. Gave me a bit of a vibe of that thing too, but I know so little about it other than I played a demo of that. So yeah, it's quite a thing. Dragon's Scale. Parade was actually originally it was based off of a song I made called Clarinet Parade because I made the song using the clarinet tone on my keyboard, and then I turned it into a song on here using not that And actually, like, I was using that as like the bass, but this came out like cooler. Especially, I like the like sine wave. You probably heard it in the like little intro clip there, the sine wave thing. Early on when it's got like the echo effect on it. That thing sounds like super cool. I always loved how that turned out with like the way it sounds with that and the echo and stuff on it. Just really cool. And the song just it's kind of simple, you know, and the methodical thing, and it just but it like I kind of like here's the pieces and here's the pieces without other things and stuff, but it's still like it moves and it keeps going and it's not overly long and it's a fun hop, a nice jam. It's a jolly uh, uh, romp of a song. Quest for Gold Generation is well, you can tell there's the parenthetical generation. It's Quest for Gold. And as far as I remember, I believe I did it first as its own thing and then put it into MTV Music Generator and then later turned it back into a song where I sang on it, which we'll get to later. But for this one, yeah, it goes more places. It has more of the adventure of a pirate quest. Um, and I was really playing around a lot with these effects, things like like the chorus or like effect thing on these instruments or the echo and the thing where if you can set it so basically you can like you hear it on the one guitar where like if you can set it basically to start samples of like the instruments like partway through what they're playing, so especially when you start having some of these when they get lower down, um, they take longer to like for a strum of a guitar takes longer because the clip gets slowed down as well as putting the pitch down, so like having a start partway into it means you don't have to worry about that. You can just hear like the guitar sound. So it's interesting to play around with those. And the way this just goes places I think is really neat. So I don't know. I still really like this one quite a bit. And hopefully the whole quest for gold, rough water thing is less confusing now. Um, because it's less confusing for me, but I don't know how it is for anyone else. So we'll find out. The build was one I think I originally was going to start off doing like just bass on it, and then like the way it went, it kind of was like, oh, I can do this like cool like uh, arc string like sample on it too. So I kind of focused on just those two samples and drums, I guess, but those were the main instruments I focused on. And it just kind of flowed really well, and I really like the part where it like kind of breaks in like later after you've seen a lot of the string stuff come in, and then it's like uh, kind of just the bass again, the bass tones and drums. Like that part's really cool. And yeah, just kind of like the neat little flow and the feel of it. I don't know. It feels really cool, and it's hard to really explain how that feels. So that's why I just say it feels really cool. But kind of always I think it's like it's called the build because it like slowly builds up and then like it kind of does kind of like calm down a little bit and then it builds up again at the end and then yeah, so that's why it's called the build. Party Van Cool is not really much to talk about. I mean, generally I guess I had that main riff and a lot of this is notes just playing the same thing as each other to give it more energy and pizzazz. And then between there, a lot of just soloing, messing around, wanking on other like instruments. Um, and that's pretty much all it is. Those two parts. So I guess I remember liking it a lot more when I first made it, but it's not that great now. I don't think, just because it just lacks some variety and it doesn't do anything all that interesting. It even doesn't even really feel all that different than something I could have done just with my keyboard even. Um, other than I guess it might be hard to play that precisely, but it's interesting, I guess. It's neat. It's just a little lackluster compared to some of the other really good ones that got to stay. Hey, the button's still on, alright? Don't don't yell at me. Space is another great example of my naming genius. Um, it's just a spacey sounding thing, kind of supposed to be like kind of going through space. The high pitched synthy things in the beginning are kind of like supposed to be kind of like stars, the sounds of those, and like the more bassy like synth part of it was like, um, I guess it's kind of like you sound of like your engine or something, kind of like traveling through it and that kind of thing, and having atmosphere around you, that kind of idea. And then in the end, it's more of like just a jamming out. And you got like the different like the lasery sounding like drums, and you got like the weird like whine. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it sounded cool, like a spacey thing, and it's got like the laser shot after that, the big one. And so I was just using those like symbols, of like you get the idea. Uh, so that's, and then also there's a lot of like in the end also there's a lot of like layering other pieces that I used earlier, just throwing them on top of that progression and seeing if it fits or not. So, um, I don't know. I like space. If you couldn't tell, I kind of like the whole space theming. So, space. Slaughterman is a song that I made as a concept for this fictional idea of like this crazy first person shooter. Or as like you go to all the places and fight all the enemies, right? You fight the regular army dudes or whatever dudes with guns, just humans with guns. And you got parts where you're fighting aliens, you're fighting robots, you're fighting demons, just all these different things where you're going and doing like these battles with zombies, um, just all these different enemy types and like scenery, like settings or whatever, places, locations, whatever. Um, just like trying to be like this ultimate mashup first person shooter of all these cool things. Um, also being like a classic first person shooter that you're going to all these different locales and doing this stuff to mix it up, right? Um, I think I even like kind of made up a thing in my head about it of like, oh yeah, this is how it's designed and what you do and everything. Like I was way into the concept, and so this was a song that I made that was kind of based on that concept. Um, when I used to have imagination and thoughts of my own, that's what I could do. Um, and that's why it's very good, heavy on like the guitar, but also like because it's trying to be a little more varied and everything. It's got like the softer parts with like the acoustic guitar stuff in there, and it's kind of like the standard like distorted guitar, and it's got the more like just more clean electric one with like effects on it. Like I don't know, it's kind of trying to throw stuff all over the place there for like the theme of Slaughterman. And I actually did make a Slaughterman 2 um, theme, but I never like saved it. I don't think it was as good. That's why it doesn't exist anymore. But this is the first one, and what do you think? Do you think that sounds like what I wanted it to? Hmm. I'm not sure if Unit 245 was named that way because it initially was actually like 2 minutes and 45 seconds in the, or so it said in like the game, or if um I just called it that because I thought it sounded cool or something. It's just kind of about a robot. I came up with some of the riffs on my keyboard before I ever put it into MTV Music Generator. I've probably been calling it that the whole time, that MTV Music Maker. We'll find out in post. Um, and sorry, it's late. But it's, some of the stuff I couldn't really play, so like it was cool to be able to throw those into there and like make crazy shit on top of it. And then just like the extra instruments I was able to put on there. And it builds okay, but it is kind of repetitive. It has the same kind of progression the whole time until it ends. But it's just about a robot, so I guess it's okay that it sounds kind of robotic. That's Unit 245. Fight theme is based off of the fight theme from Struggles in Space, which sounds differently. That's more like with strings rather than guitars on it. But I was able to do more with this here because of like with the fast nature of it and continually going fast and doing stuff with that. It was easier to make it here to do different things, and it kind of went off on its own parts in places. But it is still kind of long and repetitive. It could have maybe varied up a bit more or just been a bit shorter. But it's still kind of a neat thing, and it's the idea that, like, I would take it from an album and try to put it onto here and try to make it interesting in this game. That's always a neat idea when it goes one way or the other way. It's kind of interesting that it works with both. It's all right. This one almost, I'll admit it, this one almost didn't make the cut, but it did, just because again, that Run in Time song, that one already made I made a song out of it with words and stuff later. So this one, I don't know, I did more with it here and just it squeezed by like a go-gurt. Space Rock Hop is just kind of a neat little space song to just kind of have fun with. I just wanted it to sound like cool and spacey and have these synth tones. I kind of like the title Space Rock Hop because it's like a rock hop in space, or like a space rock hop, like a rock from space, and it's a hop about it. I just kind of liked how it sounded. And then also the really like wobbly, whiny synth thing in there. That does some really cool stuff. I really, really like that tone, and I especially like how that comes in with its own like kind of like self-contained thing with the other parts underneath it at the end, and then kind of like fades out into like just that thing going off. Like that's really neat. It's just kind of a neat little song, spacey song. Like some of the tones. It's a good time if you like space, rocks, and you like hopping. Then this is a song for you. Always There. Just kind of shows a couple of things that I kind of fell into doing here, where one of them is that I kind of fell into oftentimes having a main riff and then having multiple instruments just play the main riff to make it sound more powerful. And I guess I would hope that would make it sound more interesting, but a lot of times it doesn't, especially when the whole thing is like, how many things can play the exact same part at the same time? The other thing I didn't really notice until now, though, is apparently I really like doing a thing where I would have other stuff playing in the song, and then I would add in piano, and then I would add in a break from other stuff where it was just the piano parts doing things. I didn't really realize I did that much as like a thing that I did, but listening back to these, I'm noticing that's a thing that I've kind of been doing multiple times, and I know I've done it more than the ones I've just shown. I've got selected for you here, so kind of weird that I never picked up on that. Also, the title has a parenthetical because I don't know why. Overlapse Time is um I don't know really what to say about it. I guess it's sort of kind of like a lapse, like a time lapse thing, but it's like overlapping time also is like the title idea, and it's kind of a neat like it kind of keeps flowing and moving, but then it kind of like slows down and like loses some pieces here and there. It doesn't really, it doesn't technically slow down, but like the way it like kind of keeps breaking up the pace is kind of interesting, I suppose. Um, I don't know, it's weird. It's interesting and it's different, but I don't know. It's overlaps time. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. Boom theme um, is um, well, I should think before I hit record, shouldn't I? Boom theme is a one where actually the riff for it I later like I tried to replicate by playing it and I couldn't quite do it, but I ended up coming up with the riff that I used for Walk in the Morning, Fall in the Night. So that kind of worked out, I guess. But I don't know. I The song itself is kind of neat. I like that like little like synth bell thing going on in it, and just like some like little like short hits on stuff, um, mixed in with like the cool like, guitar things, like the piano stuff. There's a good mix of like those three things that I kind of throw in a lot. Like I like synth stuff, I like the cool like guitar stuff, and I like my piano stuff. So having them all kind of mixed in there is neat. And it's just boom theme because of like the loud like boom thing in the beginning, like an ending of it and stuff, right? So it's nothing crazy good or bad. It's just a thing that exists, I guess. Also, sorry that my mic, if it sounds, the audio is a bit inconsistent. All of a sudden, it just got super quiet in the past few takes here. I don't know why it's doing that, and it's frustrating. So that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so the loop generation actually came before the loop that came later on. Was it on things and stuff? It came before the later one, but um, it's funny because I made this one and then on that one I was like, oh shit, I want to recreate that. Um, and so I kind of found out the things, and it's funny also because that original one even was kind of more based on the song I did before that, called "The Nomad" on the Pool of Creation. And the riff is very similar, but not quite the same. It's more based on what I'm singing than what the actual riff is in the song. So it's kind of weird how they all kind of go into each other, but yeah, they all kind of have their own little like charms for different things. So they can all exist. Um, Also, fun fact: I may have figured out what was wrong with the microphone. I think for some reason the volume of it got turned way down in the recording thing. I don't know if that's what happened, but I think it's what happened. I don't fucking know. That or just get really quiet, and once it fixes itself, when I go to do this again, it'll be loud as fuck. And we all know how loud fuck is. Mad Mop Sundae starts off kind of like the Neon Waves song from Neon Waves. Um, but after that first bit of it, then it kind of turns into its own thing, and it's actually pretty neat. Like, kind of, hops around with the way the bass goes and everything, and I don't know, it's kind of a neat little like turn on it. And I don't know the name. I guess I just thought it sounded kind of neat. Mad Mop Sunday. I don't know why. And like I think originally what did have it spelled like the day Sunday, and I was like, wait, I'll make it like the food, because that'll be more neat. Which is, and it's, I guess it is, but it's like, it almost makes the name make less sense than if it was just a designated day. Like, no one wants to eat ice cream that has a deranged mop in it. Steel Demon basically is like the proto negative from the album Negative. It's like the same like song for like the main part of it. Then it goes into a part near the middle end ish, where it's not the same. But it has some interesting stuff with like the drums and like the tones used, uh, and because it's instrumental, it kind of it can do more things musically than like the one I did for Negative. But another interesting little tidbit is that this was, and I can't remember specifically which this was. It was either going to be the name of the fake band thing my brother and I made up, that was eventually called Idiot Rock Band. We were either going to call it that, or it's possible we were just going to call an album Steel Demon, and ended up calling it something else. It was a name that was in the contention for something like that, though. So that was a name I kind of kept remembering, because I thought it was really cool. It was like a really close thing between either Idiot Rock Band and Steel Demon was like the close thing, and or it was an album title, a different album title, and Steel Demon. I don't remember which, but I do specifically remember that being a thing related to that, so that's almost interesting. But I think all the Idiot Rock Band stuff got taken off of my channel, so you don't know what the fuck it means. The Mission was a really big concept song, where it was like taking off, going into space, and encountering like these aliens and like fighting them, and then essentially like, they kind of go off into space and are in space for a bit. Then they encounter these aliens and then they fight them, and the idea is that they beat them and then they come back home and they've completed their mission. And that's why it kind of goes to like little phases of like, here's like stuff happening, you're traveling through space, you're fighting. There's like the weird like the chime synth kind of things that's like kind of like sounds like stars or something. And also like I really like the cool like bending of the going up and down at one point that kind of sounds like a siren. Like that came off really well. I managed to make that fit with like the beat and like the song and like the notes and everything. Like that came out really cool. That was pretty tough to get it just right, but it worked, to get the curves right. And then the ending sounds like super cheesy, but like I think it kind of works for what I'm trying to do with that to convey things. So I don't know. I liked it. I always thought that one was pretty cool, even though it is kind of long due to what it is. But that's The Mission. And that's Generation. All these songs made on MTV Music Generator. I hope you guys liked hearing about that stuff. It was a really fun game. I guess it's not really that great of a game in the sense of being a game because it's mostly like a music making tool, but really fun. Put tons of hours into it. Absolutely one of my favorite games to have had, just in general. Um, and I'll link all the stuff in the description. Probably, I don't know if I'll do timestamps yet or not. Maybe I'll definitely put the playlists and the individual songs in there, and I'm planning to do that anyways. And let me know if you have played this game, MTV Music Generator for PlayStation, and maybe show me some stuff you've made out of it. That would be cool. I'd be interested. And again, sorry about the technical hiccups with the recording and whatever. And the lighting positioning can be kind of weird. I'm feeling it out. We're figuring it out. Trying to keep it interesting while also trying to figure it out. But I've stayed up all night doing 2 of these. So since it is now morning, if you'll excuse me, I am going to sleep. So the artwork here for Generation, I've slightly edited from the original artwork in that I've put my name and the title of the album on it in Impact, because I like that font. But also, I just took a better picture of it. I just had a better camera to get a picture of this, and the colors show up a lot better, and it looks a lot sharper and clearer. It's just been hanging up on my wall, but I got a picture of it on there. And you can see this is something I just drew in art class in high school. I like the multiple color thing with the lines. I really like color in general. I don't know what that one thing is. There's the the sun in the corner. There's a 1-up mushroom and a Starman from Mario. There's a bomb up there. There's a keyboard in that corner. The bottom left corner is supposed to be the top of a sword. And then the top left corner is a shield with the upside down triangle thing I use as a symbol all the time. Because I used to write the Sam and I would put the triangle around it and I would write that on things for some reason. So it kind of became a bit of a motif. I don't know what those little things are underneath Generation, little cannon balls or something. I don't know. And then the other thing on the left there, left of the G, I don't know if that's supposed to be a hive of some sort or a scale of a dragon or something. But it's very colorful. There's stuff going on. I liked it, and the different colors and lines and things thrown in there. I think it's kind of neat. I didn't really know what to do for a cover, so I just took an old piece of art I had that's unrelated and decided to make it that rather than trying to make something in paint again. This was done in colored pencils, by the way, so pencil and colored pencils. Hopefully that's cool. I don't know, do you like it?